Flosstube friends. Welcome to Hollis Hands Create. I'm Christine, and this is my channel about cross stitch. Today is Sunday, January 29th. This is episode number 44. Thank you so much for everyone for tuning in. And if you're new here, I hope you'll find a little bit of inspiration and want to join me again. Just click that subscribe and the bell for notifications. If you're a returning viewer, thank you so much for tuning back in and you know, watching what my crazy stuff and what I'm doing. I hope you enjoy it as well. Today we're going to talk about some cross stitch. I actually have just a little bit of quilting to show as well, but primarily cross stitch. So thank you for your lovely comments about my first ever WIP parade. I was a little nervous about it. I was nervous about the length of time that it might take to actually do the whole WIP parade. And it did take about 18 hours to upload to Flosstube, which was kind of crazy. I've never had that happen before. And I guess that's because I've always tried to limit the length of my videos. But thank you again for all your lovely comments. I had some questions and things I'll get to here in just a little bit. Let's see. What little life update? All is well. No more plumbing issues. Thank you for everyone who, you know, expressed, you know, sympathy for what we went through. But really, you know, it could have been a whole lot worse. So no major damage. Just a lot of inconvenience and, you know, some damage, but that was easily fixed. This last week, it's been all about new carpet now on the upstairs of the house and more paint. We're going to be painting for a while, have a feeling, but I struggle with painting, the whole issue, not the process of painting, the color selection of painting. It's really difficult for me, and usually when we're painting one room, you know, we'll get all kinds of paint chips, I'll tape them to the walls, and I'll walk around them and think about them for sometimes a couple of months before I feel like I can choose. Usually once we've got it done, I'm really happy with, you know, how it comes out, but there's just so many possibilities, and I get really bogged down in that detail. So trying to do almost a whole house has really been very overwhelming for me. I'm not super creative, and it's interesting. I was listening to Carol Saltbox Stitcher on this video that she just posted on Friday, and she made that comment, you know, that she's not very creative. And I thought, oh goodness, and you know, how could she say that? And she said she can follow a pattern, she can, you know, replicate what she loves and she sees, but designing is not her thing. And I thought, you know, that's exactly how I feel. I can replicate like crazy. I can draw. I drew and sketched and won several awards in school and things like that for that, but it was always replicating what I was seeing. Like still life was my thing, not just coming up with something fresh out of my brain. So coming up with new looks or fresh looks and things like that for the house has been a bit overwhelming, but we're getting there. We've got, you know, 4 rooms, tiny rooms, mind you, laundry room, entryways, hallways, and bathroom done. And I'm working on the craft room. We got, those rooms were painted deep yellow and bright tangerine orange. So we did get all of the primer done, and that just having the primer or covering up all that tangerine orange makes the room look even better. So now the carpet's done. We just have to put on the top coat, and then I can get my room assembled and hopefully hang the majority of my cross stitches, and I'd like to start actually filming up there. But for now, I'm back down in what traditionally would be a dining room. We're not going to make it a dining room. It's actually, I'm going to be moving my big, we have an antique roll top desk that belonged to my husband's family. And we're going to put that in here and some things like that, a buffet. We've got a big buffet and some things like that, but it's not going to traditionally be a dining room. Anyway, so I'm back in here. I did have a question while I'm thinking about it, about this room. I had a couple questions about what was behind me, and I still have kind of the stitches that I put up at Christmas time. This one is the Redbird Sampler from Owl Forest Embroidery, and I stitched that in 2022 along with Chrissy, finally a farm girl. She and I share a love of cardinals, and we stitched Cardinal Kin together in December from Plum Street, which was the cute little Cardinal Kin that was released in November, and we stitched it in December together as well. So anyway, so this is Redbird Sampler from Owl Forest Embroidery. The one right above that is a Merry Heart, which is by Plum Street Samplers. And I stitched that, I want to say back in like maybe 2018 or 2019, something like that. It's been a little while. It's stitched on Ale from Picture This Plus, and I absolutely love that. That's one that I actually leave up. I don't put away. So anyway, so there's those two questions. I had a couple of other questions that I thought I would just answer real quick. One was the conversion for Christmas garden that I'm doing. And I'll show you the silks. Actually, you'll be able to see them pretty good because I'm wearing black. I'm going to the Chiefs game later this evening. It's the AFC Championship. You see, I got my earrings. I'm ready to roll. So I'm all in black because I will be adding a whole bunch of layers a little bit later. I think game time temp is supposed to be around 10 degrees. So it's going to be cold, but it'll be fun. So here are the colors that I selected. I was inspired by Lisa, Kindred Stitcher, with the conversion that she did on her Christmas garden. And I have picked, and I'll give you these names real quickly. You can see Gloriana Silks. The red is Poinsettia. The gold is Old Gold. The brown is Coffee Bean. And then I have two greens. One is Thistle and one is Avonlea Green. Good gravy. So you can see those two greens are almost identical. The Thistle Green has just a hair bit of a brown touch to it. And I have to tell you, I'm not sure which one I'm stitching with. They are so close, and I have both loose in my bag, and I looked at the stitch and I couldn't tell exactly which one I was using. So it may be a mixture of them. I don't know, we'll see. So, but anyway, those are the colors, and hopefully I held that up long enough if you were wanting to know. And I'm stitching it on 32 count vintage buttercream by Lakeside. So there's everything for my Christmas garden. Thank you for that question. Another question that I had was what fabric I was using for the Contented Mind, which is the sampler I'm stitching from the sampler company, Brenda Keys. And the fabric is one that I had in my stash. It's a Victorian motto fabric from when I belonged in the club a couple years ago, and I believe it's just called Classic. Another question I had was my Mirabilia, which is Miss Christmas Eve. Someone asked what fabric I was stitching that on, and I'm stitching it on Nature's Dance, which is from Fabrics by Stephanie. And I think that was it. Okay, so thank you so much for your questions. I appreciate those, and hope everyone sees those answers. I try to also, if I can, respond in the comments, but I thought I would actually put them on this next Flosstube as well. What else? Let's see. I've got a couple of shout outs I want to do. I've been watching a lot of Flosstube the last couple of weeks, and whip parades. I love watching whip parades. You get so much inspiration. And so anyway, wanted to shout out 3 particular Flosstubers, stitchers that I've watched and I'm really excited about. One is Megan. She's the Seattle stitcher. She is such a sweetheart. She orders from my shop and she's just so nice. And Megan, if you're watching, You know, my daughter lives in Seattle, so next trip out, hope we can maybe get together and meet and have some tea, or, well, it's Seattle coffee if you like coffee. I'm not a coffee drinker. My daughter says, how can you come to Seattle and not drink coffee? But for me, I can do that very easily, so I head for the teas. But maybe we can get together. I would love to meet you. Another one, and these three are all young ladies, younger ladies, which is very exciting to see that they're getting into stitching and they're in the community, and it's just wonderful. So another one that I've watched, Lauren, who's the New Hampshire stitcher. She's awesome as well. I've watched both of her. I think she's got a few videos out now. I watched her first two, and then I watched, like, she did like maybe a kind of a smaller WIP parade, and I watched that one as well. She has some great projects, so go follow and watch Lauren if you haven't already. And Bryn, who's the museum stitcher, and she's in Texas. Wish I would have known her when I was still living in Texas. She happened to mention in one of her videos that her local needle shop was Stitch Niche, and I was like, oh, wait a minute, Stitch Niche, that used to be my LNS when I was living down in the DFW area, until the beginning of, I guess, well, we moved in March of 2021. Now it's almost 2 years, believe it or not. Anyway, so all three of these ladies, excellent floss tubes, great stitching projects, so go give them a watch if you're looking for someone. And it's so nice to support the younger stitchers too. Keep them going. All right, let's see. I'm gonna do the giveaways real quick instead of holding those to the end. And I thought I would, I'm gonna comment on each of the winners' comments on the floss tube so that they also will get that notification. But the first one was for this, it was a redraw of the Gold Collection Petite, and the word that you were supposed to leave in your comment was gold, and the name of this is Santa's Feathered Friend. And the winner of this one was Barbara Wallen, W-A-L-L-I-N, Barbara Wallen. Thank you so much, Barbara, for your really nice comment. And reach out to me. I'll have my email in the description box below, and I'll need your address so I can send it to you. And the Sunflower Mill Hill kit, this was also a redraw, and this one was Lisa Munchausen. Lisa is a frequent commenter. I always enjoy her feedback on each of my videos, and so I was excited to see her name pop up. But Lisa, you are the winner. Congratulations. And reach out to me so I can send this to you. I need your address. All righty. Okay. Let's see. Let's get on to what you're here for, which is the stitching. And I'm going to actually show you real quick my finish that I'll show that first, that I'm excited about. As you know, I had set aside in my basket next to my chair what I intend to focus on. And when I get tired of some of those, I'll pick out a couple of new and put them in, but I'm selecting just from that basket for my immediate stitching. And at some point I'll, work in some others. If I finish some things, obviously I get to pull something new, but I'm really trying to do stitching from, not necessarily stitching from stash, but stitching from my WIPS primarily. Not that I'm not going to have some new starts, because I know I will. But anyway, here's my first one. Harriet Goddard, Hands Across the Sea. Harriet is stitched on 40 count baby sheep from XG Design, and I used the called for 103 silks. And I'll put it up like this so you can see. Look at this funky reindeer. There you go. I was very happy with this one. So now that I've shown it, I will get it in the framing pile. I'm not sure where I will send that one for framing or take that one for framing. My good friend Ginger Scholl, she uses a local shop in Lee Summit and has a great framer that she recommends. So I may actually take that down to her framer, Mary, and see what they can come up with. I'm not sure. I have 3 framed or to be framed pieces out to Total Framing right now, so I'm not sure that I really want to send anything else to them right now because the wait time is so long. And speaking of Ginger, she and I were bringing up the rear on the Our Lasting Friendship sale from the Quilter Station ladies, our stitch club that we do at Quilter Station in Lee Summit. And so after my WIP parade, she messaged me and said, we need to get this done. She's like, I've never not finished a sampler. We need to get this done. And she showed me her progress, and she had a lot less to finish than I did. And lo and behold, she actually finished hers this week. She had a snow day. I don't remember what day it was we got snow, Wednesday or Thursday. And so she had a snow day because she works for the school system. And so she got hers all finished. Here's my progress. And I stitched on this almost every day this week. I did have one night, it was the second night that we had carpet people here because it took them 2 days to do all the carpeting upstairs. And I didn't stitch that night because I was busy trying to put the rooms all back together and sheets back on beds because they had to move the beds and things like that. So I actually had a place to sleep. But I did get, when I looked at my book, I did get 6 days out of the last, I guess it's been 3 weeks since I filmed. So I did get 6 days worth of progress. So I finished the border, I finished the cartouche border, I finished going up this side. Everything across the top is new since you last saw. Everything up, well, from I believe here up on this side is new, and I think I had only done these 2 little things on the inside. So, and though it looks a little funky that I have, you know, some partial things here, but the reason that is when I get to where I finish, like I finished this basket with balsam fir and had about 5 or 6 inches left on the length of thread on the needle. So I look for something else that I can use with that same color if I can get to it. I mean, I don't want to count over 30 something. You make too many mistakes doing that, but if I can get to it easily. And so like these letters were in that same color, so it was easy to count over, you know, to put those in. So here's my progress on Our Lasting Friendship. I hope to have it finished this week. I'm gonna concentrate on it pretty good. I won't get any stitching today, but hopefully tomorrow it will. So anyway, this is by Blackbird Designs, and it's Our Lasting Friendship. Here's all the colors. I have some of the call for colors, some colors that are similar to the call for colors. I kind of just went to my thread stash and just pulled out all kinds of things. And here's the book, Our Lasting Friendship by Blackbird Designs. I'm gonna take the time to put some of these things back or I'll have a real mess. So thank you for your patience. Okay, and the next thing that I worked on, I did not iron, and I apologize for that in advance. I wanted to get this done before my son gets up here to get ready we're gonna watch the first part of the Eagles game, because if you followed me for any time, you know that we are a red and green household. I am a Chiefs fan. My husband's from the Philadelphia area, so he's an Eagles fan. And even though all 3 of our children were born in Missouri, they think that they are Eagles fans. So, but my son lives here in Kansas City with me, so he kind of roots for both, primarily the Eagles, but you know, but he loves going to the games, and so he and I are going to the game later this evening. So he'll be up here in a little bit. So I did not take the time to iron. Sorry, that was really windy to get around to the fact of why I did not iron. And the next one, The Old Winter. This is by the Primitive Hare. And I got pretty decent amount done on this one as well. I would have had a whole lot more done, but I ran out of DMC 839, which is this body fill-in. So I did a bunch more of this, which is in a different color, so that when I get a chance to stop by and pick up some 839, I can just, you know, crank away on this fill-in. I'm really liking this one, and I really want to keep this one in my focus basket and see if I can't get a finish on it as well. So that's the Old Winter by the Primitive Hair. And this is my working copy. That's what it will look like. And I just stitched on Izzy's 30 count printed, I believe it's white flakes. I think it's white flakes. 30 count white flakes printed linen that Izzy has. And 2/2 using all of the called for. It's my FedEx guy. Okay, and the next one, let's see, that I got some decent progress on was Jane Cowie by the Scarlet House. She's a beautiful sampler. And I'm stitching her on 36 count Bush Tee, which is a linen from my good friend Jay, who's Jay's X Stitch. On Instagram, and I think that's the name of her Etsy shop as well. She's in Australia. And show you where I got. All right, so here's my progress on Jane. So, since I last showed you Jane, let's see, I have to look at the side. I went up this side some more with this border, put in this butterfly, started whatever that is, I'm not sure. Put in these two little motifs, came across, did the green here, and big chunk of the body of the house. So I was cranking away on Jane when Ginger messaged me and said, we got to get this Our Lasting Friendship done. And so I put Jane away and started working on Our Lasting Friendship this last week. But as soon as Our Lasting Friendship is finished, I'm going to head right back to Jane, I believe, because I really love that border. So she's on 36 count Bush Tee, as I said, and I'm using all the called for NPI silks. Isn't she beautiful? I love that butterfly. I'm going to go a little closer. Look at that butterfly. It's so cool. And there's another butterfly over here on this side, so I'll be excited to put that one in as well. I'm enjoying this way of stitching, of just pulling out some pieces that I love, which, I mean, I love them all, but maybe when I was digging through just what was speaking to me at the time, when you kind of go through your WIPS and just pull those out, so you've got some, 5 or 6, so I've got some variety, and I'm enjoying this way of stitching. And let's see, last one I have to show you in the WIPS is my Sunday stitch, which is His Eyes on the Sparrow. And this is by Heartstring Samplery. Now this is the book. And I do want to kind of talk about this just a little bit, because I had a lady who, I guess, saw my Flosstube, saw that I showed the book, and she ordered His Eyes on the Sparrow from the shop. Well, Beth had these books available kind of as a limited thing for the distributors, and now she's gone back to the original chart form. When she had originally released His Eyes on the Sparrow, she did it in just regular chart form, the paper that you get in the little 9x7 plastic bags, and that's how it was originally released. When she created and released Consider the Lilies a couple years ago at Market, she did it in a book form, and so therefore she decided to go back and make His Eyes on the Sparrow into a book form. But she didn't know how long she was going to be doing it for. So the lady who had ordered the chart, she was a little disappointed that, she didn't get this book. And I apologize if there was any, confusion. I did have in the listing that, it's not the book. But you have to look at the item details to see that it's, says not the book. So anyway, I did check with Beth this week, and she's sending me more of the books of the Consider the Lilies, but I'm not sure what she's doing as far as reprinting. I think she's probably getting a lot of book requests, so potentially she's going to be bringing, sending these books out, but I don't know if they'll be going to the distributors. We may just have to get them through her. I'll have to double check with her. So hopefully I can put the book form of His Eyes on the Sparrow back into the shop as well. So anyway, just wanted to kind of talk about that just real quickly. And then I'll show you my progress, because I think I made, some decent progress on this as well. It got 2 Sundays of progress since I last showed it to you. And I'm just going to show you the bulk. The border goes out a little further, but this is the bulk of the stitching that is done. So you can kind of see I have started the band that goes across the middle, that actually that's where the words His Eyes on the Sparrow and I Know He Watches Me is going to be written inside that band. So I got up to the band and started that. And so all of this has been done. I've extended up a little bit more here. And so there is my progress on His Eyes on the Sparrow. I usually get, maybe 3 motifs done each sitting. It just depends on, what we have going on and how long I have a chance to sit. I mostly just stitch in the evening. So there's His Eyes on the Sparrow. That is being stitched on 40 count affogato from Fiber on a Whim. I wanted kind of a darker, earthier look to my linen because I just kind of feel like this is a kind of an earthy type sampler. It's all those animals, and I don't know, it just kind of feels like that to me, and I'm really enjoying stitching on that 40 count affogato. Okay, oops, put my card back in. Okay. Last, and I don't know if I'll be able to really show you this very well, but I had gone, when I've gone to Quilter Station in January, the first Saturday of the month we have Stitch Club, and the third Saturday we have Sampler Stitch Club. So first Saturday I had gone down, and I hadn't been there in a little while because we'd been traveling in November and then December, with the holiday and things like that. So I hadn't been down for a while. And I always have to look to see what new fabrics that Rita has in the shop. And she had a new line. It's called Amelia's Blues. I think it's from Betsy, is it Betsy Chuchin? I forget how you say her name. Anyway, it's Amelia's Blues. Well, my husband's favorite color is blue. Every car we've owned has been blue with the exception of one. When we got into the house, the first thing you want to do is paint the laundry room blue. We painted it, so I let him paint it blue. Figured he can have the laundry room. And now he's pushing for blues throughout the house. So I thought, well, this Amelia's Blues fabric was really pretty, and it has some really cool browns and things into it too as well. So I went ahead and I got some of the fabric, and I thought I would stitch him a throw blanket, because he likes to have a quilt or an Afghan or something across his legs in the evenings. And so I worked on, and this is just a section, but I worked on this quilt top. Now it is, let me see if I can, I don't know if I can show you this very well or not, but I'll give it a shot. This is like half. And it's a simple pattern. It's called checkerboard, though I did it a little bit differently. I made it where it's got diagonals this way. but I'm not doing a very good job. But when you're by yourself, it's a little hard to hold things up. So, but you get kind of a feel for it. And so the only thing I have left to do is I have this fabric, which is going to be a 5-inch border all the way around. And so I just have to cut and add that. I was ready to do that last weekend, and they called and said the carpet was ready and would be on its way. And so I had to tear apart the room and put everything away for them to come and do the carpet this week. So I didn't really get the chance to even put those strips on the edge. But other than that, it'll be ready. I already have the backing ready to go. And then I'm not sure if I'm gonna, I could easily just quilt this one on my machine. But I may run it down to Quilter Station and send it out to one of the quilter ladies that they have there. Not sure about that. But anyway, so that was another little project that I worked on. It really only took me about 3 hours, 3.5 hours one afternoon. It's 72 inches high by 48 inches wide, I believe. Close to those measurements. So he's 6'4", so that should be just about the right height for him to have a nice throat quilt. And in the quilting vein, this is the only haul I have, and I got this from Kathy, who is So Peaceful Stitchery. She has Etsy shop. She's out of Oregon, Bend, Oregon. Nice lady. And she actually had put up some, and I believe this was from her own stash. And it's some retired Blackbird field notes. And she had 2 of these 5-inch charm packs. And she had 2 cuts. I'll show you these real quick. Of these 2 fabrics. Oh, and I absolutely love this colorway. So I saw that she had posted those, and I just quickly snapped them up because, as you know, once a fabric is gone, it's gone. And I had looked for some other, fabrics that were in this. I love that green. I think that's really pretty. It'd be really pretty inside of a bag or something like that. So, but I haven't seen anything other than, I think I saw 1 or 2 listings for maybe like this stripe or something like that. But that doesn't really go with what the colorways that I have. So anyway, that was Field Notes by Blackbird Designs, and I absolutely love that. And I look forward to kind of coming up with something to make for that. So I want to kind of go back, we make all these things for people, like I'm making this, quilt from my husband. It's tall and long enough that if my son ever wanted it and it would be in the colors that he probably would like, he could have it if we passed it down. And I got to thinking about, because the word legacy, because I also, in watching quite a few WIP parades and some Flosstube, I heard the word legacy, talk about legacy stitching coming up a couple of different times. And the context that I heard it in, I was kind of like, I don't know that was the way I was thinking of legacy. And we were talking about doing a legacy stitch. And I kind of got the impression that they were, and I may be totally wrong, thinking legacy, in other words, it's taking them a long time to stitch it. It's something that they plan to stitch over, a few years. And so it's kind of a legacy stitch. So what I was kind of thinking is that legacy, to me, means what you leave behind, or, it's something that's really special. You're going to pass down. It's what you're going to be known for. Maybe if you're known for continually stitching and stitching over long periods of time, that would be what you're known for. That would be your legacy. So I looked it up, and in the dictionary, legacy means long-lasting impact of particular events, actions, etc., or an amount of money or property left in a will. And the third description had to do with universities. And it's interesting, I just saw a little thing come up on the news about legacy students getting scholarships in places in universities where other students who are just as well qualified, if not more qualified, didn't get a place at that university because they were ousted by a legacy student, who means that that student's parents or grandparents or somebody, ahead of them in their family line had attended that university, and so therefore they're a legacy student because they're passing it down. So I thought that was really interesting. What do you think when you think of a legacy stitch or legacy stitching, or, what does that mean to you? To me, if I'm looking at the things that I'm stitching, I would hope that Eye on the Sparrow is a legacy piece. I hope one of my kids would appreciate all the time and the hard work and that goes into stitching that. I would hope they would love that. Some of the things, maybe they would love, maybe they won't. Hopefully they won't just go right to Goodwill. But, some of the pieces you hope that maybe that would be a legacy stitch, or it would be part of what your legacy is, right? But I'd love to know what everybody thinks about that. I just thought it was interesting that in watching, quite a few Flosstubers the last couple of weeks, I heard that term come up more than once, and I thought, well, what does that mean to everybody? Is that why we do this? I don't know. These are deep questions, deep thoughts. Okay, I'm just looking through my notes here because I did make notes. I need to kind of move through things today. Let's see, a couple things, I guess, just about the a few little shop notes. So if you're done watching and you're ready to move on, thank you for hanging with me for this half hour. I hope that you saw something that you loved. I hope you'll come back and share with me again. Have a great Sunday. I'm going to say go Chiefs because, I'm a Kansas City Chiefs fan. And we are really hoping for a red and green Super Bowl. I've heard it called the Andy Reid Bowl. I've heard it called the Kelsey Bowl. Travis Kelce plays for the Chiefs. His big brother Jason Kelce plays for the Eagles. My husband's an Eagles fan. I'm a Chiefs fan. So, they could be on a collision course. So we'll see how that goes. Be rooting for me, please. Because I probably won't be back until after the week after the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl will be in 2 weeks, and we'll see what happens. All right, so shop news. I've added a new line to the shop. If you are a sampler stitcher, go check out the samplers by The Wishing Thorn. That's the designer who's releasing them. Most of them are reproduction samplers. There's some small samplers, which would be really nice to be able to stitch, and some medium size and some big ones. So I've added about 6 or 7 of their samplers to the shop. Take a look at those. Let's see. I also created an overstock section of the shop. And what that means is a couple of times I made a mistake and literally double ordered. Forgot I ordered from one distributor and ordered the same chart from another distributor and ended up with double the stock that I needed. So I put the extras into the overstock if it's been in the shop for a while. There's some that, you think it's going to be a really big seller and maybe it's not so much. It's a guessing game when you're a retailer, trying to figure out, okay, what's going to be super popular and what's not. And sometimes you guess wrong. And sometimes you guess right and can't get that chart in fast enough. So it's just it's fun. It's a fun game though. So I've got some things in the overstock section. And what I have done is I have just put them into that section of the shop and then just dramatically discounted them. Some are up to 40% off. And so the price that you're seeing when you go in and take a look is already the deeply discounted price. So take a look at that if you're interested. Collector's Hearts. Since 2004, Cecilia from Heart and Hand has been putting out a collector's heart kit for Valentine's Day. And this year's was really lovely, very samplery style. Unfortunately, I don't even have one to show you because as soon as they came in, they're gone. And I'm already on the list for her reorder. She had sold out just lickety split, and so I'm on the list for the reorder. I think I sold through 35 of them in just a matter of days. There are still some of her older kits from, I think, 18, 19, 20, 21, and 22. I believe I have a few from each of those years. Anything older than that, she has already retired. So maybe, opportunity to pick up one that you might have missed in the last couple of years. So, but do know that there's more on order for the 2023s. Quick note about that. Please note that all the pictures are in the listing of each of the kits. Just because the front picture shows one particular kit, you need to then, you see that picture, but scroll across to look at all the pictures of the kits. And in the drop-down box, you will see then by year which one you're selecting. So make sure you're selecting, the correct kit, and don't just assume because the front picture shows the most recent kit that's exactly what you're ordering, because you need to kind of watch. And especially right now, since the 2023 is sold out, you're going to see it grayed out. Okay, and let's see what's next. Oh, last thing, we are about 5 weeks to Nashville Market. That's a very exciting time in the needlework industry. We've got quite a few designer sneak peeks starting, and so that's going to be fun. 1897 Schoolhouse Samplers. I'm really excited to see what Leanne, everything she's putting out, because she's been working really hard the last couple of years to get all her releases ready. Let's see. Let's go through my process. I used to, when I first started the shop, take pre-orders. And I learned my lesson kind of the hard way. And I know a lot of shops still do pre-orders. But then you get to market, and sometimes that designer didn't bring what they thought they were going to have, or just, something didn't get shipped, or whatever the case may be. And you go expecting to pick up all your product, and you don't get it. So what I will do is I will take messages, and I've created shopping lists for people, and I will shop for them. I do not take your money prior to going. I don't want to actually sell anything until I have it in hand. So if I shop for you, I can do that, and I will, keep your list going, and I'll add to it as we're able to pick those things up. And then I will message you if for some reason something's not available, or it's going to have to be shipped, or whatever the case may be. And once everything's in hand, then I'll send you an invoice, and at that point you pay for it. So, and I've gotten to where I kind of do the same thing. I create the listings ahead of time as drafts. When we've visited with that designer, we've picked up our product, then we'll activate the listing. So you can start to expect to see some of the listings of the new things drop into the shop on probably Friday night, possibly Saturday morning, as we have actually been able to pick up the items from the designers. And then that I actually have it in hand, so when you order it, it will be going right out to you. There won't be a delay. We won't be sitting on your money for a while. So just wanted to throw that out there real quick. Be watching the sneak peeks. If you're on Instagram, that's always exciting to see what the designers are putting out. And start your lists, and it's exciting time. Love to see all the new stuff, and it gives a real shot in the arm to the industry. There's not going to be an expo in 2023, and so this market in March, it's first weekend in March, will be the only wholesale market for this year. So that's kind of fun. I don't think I've got anything else. I'm going to get off of here because it's going to be time. I got all my warm clothes laid out, and here pretty quick it's going to be time to get ready to go down. Lots open at 1, stadium gates open at 3:30, game kicks off at 5:40, and hope they win. I'm really excited about it. 5th year in a row of the AFC Championship games, so we'll see what happens. We've had some injuries this week which have not been good, but we're hoping that you know, the team's good enough, they can overcome that and bring home the wins. So if you're a Cincinnati fan, I hope everybody comes out of the game healthy and in one piece, and it's a good rivalry. And but I'm really hoping the Chiefs win. So, all right, take care. Have a great couple of weeks coming up. I'll see you probably the week after the Super Bowl. And be sure to create every day. Thank you so much. Bye-bye now.